tells me about your word on Sundays. I never go, but tell them I'll go with them one day. They say you have the answers I've been longing for, but somehow I don't feel like I'm on one accord with you. I believe you have something for me alone. Humbly, Lord, how do I approach the throne? Cause all I have to offer, Lord, is it enough? I give you my trust.
I heard you're a miracle worker, graceful healer for sinner. Can you take me in? Is there room for me? I have heard you dried the eyes of many, healed more hearts, love for plenty. Can you take me in? Is there room for me? Is there room for me? Tell me, is there room for me? Is there room for me? Tell me, is there room? Is there room for me? Tell me, is there room? Hey, hey. Is there room for me? Oh, no, no.
I heard how you saved Daniel from the lion's den, and stayed with Jonah in the well he was within. I need the protection, I know I'm not worthy.
I'm in a state of desperation, Lord, I need that mercy.
I believe you have something for me alone. Humbly, Lord, how do I approach the throne? Cause all I have to offer, Lord, is it enough? I give you my trust.
I heard you're a miracle worker, graceful healer for sinner. Can you take me in? Is there room for me? I have heard you dried the eyes of many, healed more hearts, love for plenty. Can you take me in? Is there room for me? Is there room for me? Tell me, is there room for me? Is there room for me? Tell me, is there room? Is there room for me? Tell me, is there room? Hey, hey. Is there room for me? I heard you're a miracle worker, graceful healer for sinner. Can you take me in? Can you take me in? I heard you won't dry the eyes of many, heal more hearts, love for plenty. Can you take me in? Can you take me in? I heard you're a miracle worker, graceful healer for sinner. Can you take me in? Can you take me in? Oh, no. I heard you dry the eyes of many, heal my heart. Oh, no. Can you take me in? I heard you're a miracle worker, graceful healer for sinner. Can you take me in? Is there room for me? I have heard you dried the eyes of many, heal more hearts, love for plenty. Can you take me in? Is there room for me? Can you take me in? Is there room for me? Is there room for me? Can you take me in? Is there room for me? Is there room for me?
You're listening to Launch with Kim
and Dr. Newt
on Praise.fm.
Mic check, 1 2 1.
You're listening to Launch with Kim
and Dr. Newt
on Praise.fm.
Hear us out there.
Still can't hear. Y'all can hear me now.
Okay, there we go. Well, welcome to
Hello.
Launch.
With Kim.
And that's okay. Say my name. Say my name. With Kim.
And Dr. Newt.
Okay, I want to know, can y'all hear us now? My daughter, she had texted earlier, can't hear ya.
You had to start over again.
That's all right, because that means a new beginning. Come on through, Jesus. You know, church folk will always try to make something preach. Be like, you know, the sound wasn't on. We had to start again for a new beginning. Hallelujah. Church folk will make something preach in a hot minute. Hey, Wubby, hey. Can y'all hear us out there? Can you just put up some thumbs or something? Yes.
Yeah,
okay, I said yes. Well, good. Welcome. We're going to be talking about greatness for the next few weeks until the Lord says something different. But yeah, so hello to all you great people who are filled with greatness. Sometimes we don't even know our greatness until we start operating in it.
Be great.
Great. Hi, there's Morgan. Hello, James Morgan.
What's going on, brother?
There's Wubby, there's Morgan. Hi,
Right.
and all of the
Thanks
other
for
ones
tuning
from
in, you guys.
Praise.fm. We can't see who they
I
are.
logged into it, yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for logging in. We thank you again. We never want to discount your time.
Hallelujah.
Time is one of your greatest assets.
Yes, it is.
Like we say each week, once you spend it, you can't get it
Can't
back.
get it back.
So we don't take it lightly that you stop what you've done. Stop what you're doing and hear anything that we have to say out of these lips of clay.
All right. Poet and knows
I'm
it.
spitting bars over here.
Spitting bars. That wasn't even 16. That was like 3. You go, babe. All right, y'all. So good to see you guys back here. Hopefully you guys had a wonderful day today. Those of you who had a day off, I'm sure that was pretty nice. For those of you who did not have to leave out of your house, hallelujah. Where you didn't have to do any work. Yeah, Lady Rain's like, yes, a break. Nothing's like a break. We all need one. We all need one. I was listening to a person speaking, and he was just talking about how it's okay to say everyth's not just okay. That some things we have to go through, we have to deal with. Well, I said, okay, DJ Quick. Or Kid Capri. You ain't nothing. But anyway, guys, he was talking about how it's okay to say everything is not just okay. Yeah. That there's just things we are going to have to go through and deal with.
Right.
And it kind of fed me right into the topic that we're going to be talking about. You know, that the making of greatness is not easy. It's some tough things we have to go through.
Right.
So if you just like go and take a little trip down memory lane of your own life and the raising of your children, you remember those tough times. You remember those difficulties and the things you had to go through or things you had to experience, and it almost felt like there was no end to it. Mm-hmm. You know, like when it's like, oh my goodness, when you were robbing Peter to pay Paul, or you were trying to make ends meet check to check, or you had messed your money up and you were trying to figure out
paying them bills every other month
so they wouldn't cut it off. You know, you had some tough times, you know, and believe it or not, we don't like to look at tough times as a precursor of getting to a greater place within ourselves. So even here with this pandemic, just take a look at it. It doesn't always feel so good. We don't like what we're experiencing. It's traumatizing. It's heartbreaking. You can't hug your family. You can't go sit with them. It's not a normal situation. It doesn't feel normal, and it is unusual. But I tell you what, that through this here pandemic, you are going to have the ability to do something else greater than you could do prior to. I mean, who can work out with a mask on?
If you used your time. If you managed your time.
That's true.
Throughout the change, like we said last week, if you managed it correctly. If you didn't, then well, as long as you're living, let me just say.
I
gotta wait for the season.
Look, Dr. Luke's coming hard, but I would say as long as you're still living, you've learned how to do something else greater. Okay, you might not be the best at all that you could be, but you definitely learned something else that teaches you how to be better than you were before, or you learn something new.
Because the bottom line is success doesn't happen by accident.
Yeah.
It's intentional.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but
that's the key word today.
But it's based on our ability to practice new routines and discipline ourselves when we're afforded that opportunity.
Absolutely. So Newt said the key word. I don't even know if you knew that was a key word in my head tonight, the word intentional. And in this season of our lives, as difficult as it may be, we have got to be intentional about everything we do. You know, how we spend money, how late we stay up, how much time we put.
What you read, what you listen to, you know, your diet, what you're eating, who you spend your time around.
Everything.
All of those things are they're so key right now, especially now because the world's pivoting.
Yes, it is.
So everything means something.
Everything means something. Like, I have to really think about it before I make any kind of moves or decisions. Like, and that's hard for me.
Yeah.
That's like hard. I don't know about you guys out there, but this is just another area of moving to greatness. Figuring out what it is that you have to do. Losing sleep, not being able to sleep as long because you got to get up early and do something else to prepare for the next thing that you're supposed to do. And if you want things to be great.
Y'all pray for me because that's where I'm at right now. I don't know why I'm sleeping so much, but we're going to break that. I got to get up.
Sleepyhead. Y'all come on and stretch your hands forward.
And not to change the subject, but I think this is pertinent because, see, the earlier you get up, the sooner the opportunity you have to win your day.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Mm-hmm. So I mean, if you make that list the day before, or whatever it is that you need to accomplish, those big things you need to accomplish, and if you get up early, you can win those. You can win. You can be done by 9 o'clock or whatever.
I like
win, and you've won the day, and the rest of the time you have, you know, is extra. But that's
good.
That's a side piece, but I mean, it's part of the, you know, making of greatness.
It is the making of greatness because you have to now line up your day, line up your mind, line up your finances, line up your intentions. Whatever it is you're doing, you are going to have to figure out how that matches the future, not the present. Because if we continue to live in the present, we'll never be ready for the future. So if we live for today, okay, I'm going to do all this just for today. Tomorrow says, okay, what about me? And we have to go back and say, you know what, I didn't prepare for that.
So what about the person that say, but the Bible said, take no thought for tomorrow, what you should wear, clothes you need, you know.
Well, the way I look at that with the no thought, I don't think it means to drop all things. What I think that take no thought means don't worry about it. So I'm saying if you're preparing, you don't have to worry about it. You already have your ducks lined up. You're already in order. If you think ahead, just like God's word, he gives us his word of things that are going to come in Daniel. It was laid out for us. Okay, look for these things. These are things that are going to happen. He always gave us information of things to come, so that we live in the future and not in the past or in the present, but we live in the future. So as we live there, we're going there. Things are already laid out. I don't think we need to worry about it. And that's what I take the word no thought, because I think that what happens is if we start thinking too much, we worry about it.
So we do need to plan.
We need to plan. Planning, we already know what people say about planning. You know, if you don't plan, you plan fail. And that's just all to it.
Fail in the plan.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So is that also that scripture? What's the scripture when it talks about the gentleman that builds the house, but he runs out and stuff? Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know? It's in the Gospels.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think what you mean.
He says, you don't count your costs before you build your house.
Count up the cost.
Right.
Yes.
You know, then you'll run out of things. Your house is half built, and you're standing there, you know, and that's on you.
Because of the planning.
Right.
So for me, disciplining myself in that area is like huge, because I always was I got it, just do it. I got it, just do it. Well, this is not the season for I got it, but just do it. This is the season for intentional everything.
I got it. How can I make it better? How can I make it more?
Right. Exactly. This is the making of greatness. And so if I would ask you guys who are out there what the word greatness means to you, I would love to see some of the things that you type in there. Wubby, James Morgan, Akai, anyone else who's out there, what does greatness look like to you? What's the definition of greatness to you?
Right.
Because we're talking about the making of greatness, and I know that there are going to be people who say it has to fit in this box and look like this. But for each of you, greatness represents something else.
And that's key. That's key that the definition is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the same ballpark. That's key, because somebody could think it's just money.
Right.
Someone could think it's property.
Mm-hmm.
Someone could think it's a relationship, so you
Right.
need to kind of understand what that means.
Right. I would love to hear that. And for sure, we all want to be great. I mean, we all want to be great.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who does not want to be great or do great things. Yeah,
Let me be
that's a
great.
good song I could have picked. He made me great, so
Oh.
let me be great.
Oh,
That's a good
I had
one.
I'll be messing with words.
But every one of us want to be great, and not only that, but we want to leave great memories.
Right.
We want people to remember great things about us, that we want to have great things said about us.
Right.
And we also want to experience great things in this life that we're living in.
Right.
But that is conditional based upon what you believe great is.
And it's funny because I just my son, my youngest son, he posted. His name is Newton the third. I'm Newton the second. His son's Newton the fourth. He posted a picture on Facebook today of my father, me, him, and his son. It said, 4 generations of greatness. And someone who from the neighborhood where I grew up, who my father, he's much older than me. My father, kind of, back in the day, the old heads said stuff to you as you were growing up, to make you do right. So the gentleman text me, well, not text me, but inbox me on Facebook, not inbox me, but on whatever you call it, the response on the post, and said, I knew another Newton Miller who once, was very encouraging, and would talk to you and not about you, and said to me, since he's not here any longer, I'm going to say thank you to you for him. So again, your name, so I mean, my dad's gone, but his name and what he did, that greatness lied into you.
Absolutely. And that's definitely what we're going to talk about a little bit tonight. So my daughter Akai might get a little blushy here in this one, but as a parent, okay, let's see. Greatness looks like every day getting up and attacking the day and fulfilling at least one thing on that list with my whole being, and then doing it again the next day. Okay, so the conquering.
Accomplishment. Outcomes, I guess. So there's there's some planning in there. She says a list, so there has to be a planning on
That's
there.
Right. Very good. And I love that if you write it down, then you speak it and then it is written.
There's also the connotation of expectation in it, because she says she wakes up.
Yeah.
So it's an expectation that there's something to do.
Good job,
so
Kai.
Greatness entails all those things. Great. Thank you.
So as a parent, when I was planning for the birth of my first child to be born, or all of them, but I'm going to start with this one, I pondered and had basically discussions over her name, trying to figure out what name I was going to give her. And I wanted to make sure that I picked the correct name for my child, because I wanted her to have the best experiences. All parents do. You want your kids to have the best experiences. I had the highest thoughts and expectations for her, and for the rest of them, for him, her and him, her and him, and that they were going to have a great future. And I only wanted what was best for them. And so I wanted to start that off with a name. So their name was very important to me. And although my daughter's name was also given to me by my little brother, who I'd say it was prophetic because it was just so great. And he was only 5, I believe, at the time, 4 or 5. The name just rang a bell for me. So when he gave it to me, I told him I had to think on it. And I did. I thought about it while I was there. And it was so great. So anyway, I wanted a great name for her, one that stood out, one that was unique, and one that represented who she was, how she was going to look, what it was she could do, who she was going to be. And not that her name was going to be the totality, the essence of her, but it would be the beginning of her existence. And she had to be able to stand in that name, and it would posture in the importance of her calling, So I called her Akai, and that's her name. And it fit her at the time, it was a great name. But the name itself can only do so much. We have all these names and people go out of the way. My sister Webby's adding Akai Aku, because my brother really wanted that. So I took the first part of it. But anyway, the name can only do so much, because the making of greatness is more than just the name itself. You know, it has to be something behind the name. And although the name is great, you know, the work attached to the name has to be fulfilled. So you just can't name someone something and expect that they're going to walk in this greatness. No, there has to be something behind the name. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Isaiah 9:6, where they talk about Jesus' name. And it says, and he shall be called Wonderful Counselor. So if you hear that, Wonderful Counselor, there's already work in that he was going to have a position of a counselor. Not only just a plain old counselor, but a wonderful counselor. So that name itself represented a position and a job. Then it said a mighty God, not just a God, but mighty, one that's mighty, an everlasting Father, one that lasts forever, one that we could rely on, and then Prince of Peace. So the name carried a responsibility, and so you have to learn to fit into your name. So if you think about it, when a baby is born, they're born with this huge name. The baby has no idea what this name represents or the thoughts behind the name that was given. So that at that time in their life, now they have to grow to fit the name that they have. They're not already the name. They have to grow to fit that name. Because in the beginning, your name is larger than you because it precedes you. So just like this name with Jesus, it preceded him. It was spoken way before, so that we would know what was coming. Let me see. We said the sharing of your journey for success with youth of the future. Good job, James Morgan. That's what greatness is to him.
Yeah.
I love it. The sharing of your journey. So it's testifying. It's sharing something about yourself and what you've been through. I love it. Absolutely.
Right. So it's meant to be passed on.
It's meant to be passed on.
Like you're saying, calling.
Yeah. Like the calling of your name. So like I said, your name is bigger than you in the very beginning. It precedes you. And you came after, you came after your name was given. So after they thought about it, you know?
Right.
So anyway, in the Message Bible, and I just want to bring reference to that, the Message Bible reads it just a little bit different. It talks about the name, a few of the things. It says Amazing Counselor, which is basically the same, but it says a strong God. But then when it gets down to the Prince of Peace, it says Prince of Wholeness, meaning that his ruling authority will grow and their name will be no limits to the wholeness that he brings. So the things that he will be able to bring, just that name, had to be extremely important. So parents, we got to be careful what we're naming our kids and be intentional about what we're naming them. We have to make sure that we're naming them with a purpose. So anyway, the question that I have for you is, are you representing your name? Are you representing the name that you were given? Think of those, like you're named after your dad, your son after you, his son after him. Do you represent that name? So then you testified how a gentleman was on Facebook, saw those images, and he's been watching your videos, and he says, hey, you remind me of this person.
Right.
You know, so you had to morph into the calling of the name. When you were a little boy, you just were a little boy, you were learning. But then as you grew up, you had to learn to be that greatness, that your name, that heaviness of your name. You had to learn to become that.
Right.
So, Kai says yes. So it's important to make sure that we name our kids based upon who they are going to be. Like a father is supposed to speak certain things over their children to say what they can be.
Right.
And I think it's just as important when we're naming our children, to make sure that we're naming them something that they'll walk into who they are in their calling.
So in that, to kind of push that envelope a little further.
She says,
there's if you look in Genesis, the first chapter, when God says, "Let there be light," right? He says, "Let there be light," meaning if you had to say "let," that means something was holding it back. There was no one there but him and himself. Himself standing on the platform and nothing. So he was talking to his own potential, saying, "Let there be light," right? Then after it came out, he then examined that light, looked at it, and then he assigned it. He made a greater day, the greater light day, the lesser light night. And once he assigned it, day and night, then it had its purpose. Then it kind of understood. It had an identity. So in that identity, I want to pull just that piece out because he had already named it light. Right. So, but that wasn't enough to just name it light.
Right.
He had to then examine it, see what it was, what it could do, you know, how it was going to work, what was the best way for it to work, then divided it. And he called, it said, then he called the greater day, the greater light day. So what we have to do, I believe, as parents, is we have to call our children what it is they are to be. Meaning we have to pour into them and train them and walk them in that direction intentionally so it can serve its purpose. The greater light was for day and the lesser light was for night. If he didn't call them and set that identity in place, then the lesser light might have tried to be day. We'd have had the moon during the day and the sun during the night. So I just kind of want to throw that out there, that it's a little more than just naming them. That's the beginning. And understanding what that name is and then calling it, walking them through that process so they can become it.
And know who they are, you know, absolutely. I love that example of Genesis, you know, where you talk about him naming things and the things actually standing in their position.
And there's some resistance. That's why he said let.
That's good.
So there's some resistance to that thing.
So keep that in mind for those of you, and it's for everyone, because greatness is in all of us, but the making of greatness is definitely saying that there is resistance. There's going to be some difficulties in you being able to step up and stand in who you are called to be.
Right.
And your parents, we don't know all that you should be. We don't know. But what we know is what God has given us, just that inkling or that foresight to see certain things in you. So we speak them, we call you this name, and in our expectation of the name given, we want to see you walk in the calling that God has called you to be. We want to see you walk it out. But the name is larger than you at first, and we have to teach you how to operate in that. There will definitely be resistance. So the question was, are you representing your name? Now, I don't know the purpose of your name. I don't know the purpose of the calling on your life. I don't know. But God knows. And you also know whether or not you're standing in the position that you're supposed to be in based upon the calling of your life. You know that. I know if I'm operating outside of Kim's calling. I know that.
Right.
And you know when you're operating outside of your calling. The question is, how are you representing it? And if you're not representing it the way you should be, then this is the time for us to take a check.
So could I jump in real quick? I know Amanda said that her name
meaning to love
must be loved. Amanda Transform. But when Kim says you know that you're operating outside your calling, I want to make it real clear that she's not talking about ethic decisions, ethical decisions. You know, like drinking, smoking, all that kind of stuff like that. That's not what she's talking about. She's talking about operating outside of your calling, your purpose, what you were formed to do and to be, to contribute to this planet.
Right.
So there's a difference between those ethical choices, ethical, I think that's the right word, choices, character choices, and operating in your calling.
Absolutely. Okay, so anyway, we're going to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about a little bit more of that greatness, and we're going to talk about the purpose. We're going to talk about pain, passion, and purpose, which helps us to get into that position of greatness. So we're going to move on with the first song, which is called Great Name.
Don't go anywhere. Be sure you come back.
You're listening to Launch with Kim
and Dr. Newt on Praise.fm.
Okay.
Welcome back
Welcome
to
back,
Launch
guys. With Kim.
and Dr. Newt.
If he don't get his song in y'all, he ain't right. He
Yeah.
has to sing his little song all the time.
Hey,
So
you
when
guys, you want to tell them about Praise.fm?
Yeah, well, go ahead, babe. You already on the roll. I'm gonna let
Okay.
you go ahead and do your thing. He ready.
So you guys know that we broadcast live on Praise.fm. That's PRAYZ.fm. So you can catch shows. They have shows 24/7 with different folks. I know a new one just started up. I think it's called Man Cave that I watched the other night. It was very good. Great brother. Really good brother. Just stimulate your mind. Yeah, that's David. So go ahead and log in, you guys, and check out Praise.fm. You can get it on Facebook, their Facebook, or the actual website, Praise.fm. And if you have a show that you would like to broadcast or show, then go ahead and inbox Lady Rain on Praise.fm, and we'll watch you too.
Also, for those of you who are out there, as you know, Newt and I wrote a book called Baggage Claim. It's actually behind us, and there's a commercial that they played. Check it out. It's actually on our website, which is
newedproducts.net. NEWED products.net. And all of Kim's
Ami's World
Ami's
books.
World children's books. I have another book, Kim's book, and then some of the things that we do as far as conferences, marriage conference, and things of that sort you can find on there as well.
All right. So we've been talking about greatness, and we're just like, spreading the butter very thin tonight, just giving you an introduction to some of the things that we're going to be talking about. So I'm just covering a few things tonight so that you know where we're going, just so that you can have, just so you can start thinking about it.
Right.
What is greatness to me?
Right.
Am I operating in or representing my name? Am I operating in greatness? What is it that I'm not doing that I really should be doing? That's part of my calling. So consider those things for greatness. That song got great name. Exactly. I wanted to make sure we played that because every name, every person who's represented is great. Every name is great. So anyway, we all want to be great. Greatness is more than just a name or a noun. It's more than just a thing. It's more than the adjective that describes the noun. It's more than the adverb that describes what that noun can do or that thing will be. It's more than that. It's way more than that. What it is a position of power, respect, success, and it's your calling. Mm-hmm. It's a great position of power, respect, success, and calling.
Right.
It is more than, and there's probably more words that we could add to that, but definitely
intentional journey.
It's an intentional journey, exactly. Mm-hmm. Intentional journey. So greatness happens in many different ways. So like, in order for me to get to the place that I'm in today, let me just use Ami's World books for now. In order for me to get to the place where I had the ability to write about whatever, I had to go through some different things. Mm-hmm. Not that the things that I went through I've written about, but my life, the total of my life then gave me that ability to create that way.
Right.
So your creations or the things that you're doing, my daughter, she loves to cook. She comes up with an idea you can give her some ingredients and she'll create something. That is a part of her. So in order for her to get to this point, she had to go through certain things. Training, for me, I had to go through school, different things you have to go through in order to become the greatness that you stand in right now, in order to get into the position of power to do that. Right. And then respect for that, because you literally have gone through the training. So now you carry a title or a certification or whatever.
It says you're qualified.
That says you're qualified. You have to go through something. Then the next thing is the success of it all. Funny part about success is it doesn't just, not for everyone, it doesn't just happen. I know people who have been really successful. We hear about them after they have been working on something for 15 years. There's people call them pop-up stars. They pop up from nowhere and all of a sudden their song hits the billboard.
Right.
Well, when you talk or you hear those people share, they always say, I've been doing this.
Journey that we didn't see.
We didn't see it. So when we see people pop up, don't think that they popped up out of nowhere. That was,
something was happening under the ground.
Something had to happen under the ground. That is the making of greatness. What you don't see. It's just like that plant that you put in the ground. You put in that soil that eventually, when you first put it in, the seed looks one way. While it's under the ground, you had showed a video before.
So I'm going to push back on that. So when you say it's what you don't see, I'm assuming you're talking about what other folks don't see in you, right? So, but what I think greatness is, or when its greatness is starting to form, is what you see in yourself and what you're doing, while no one else can see it.
Okay.
What's happening behind closed doors? What's happening, under the ground? When you sat in those rooms, drawing all those pictures, trying to get it right because you wanted to make sure that black and brown boys and girls had books with characters that looked like them. No one saw you drawing that.
Right.
No one saw you start over and have to figure out what technology to work and all those things. So I think the greatness is what we see when no one else looks, no one else is looking and no one else can see.
But would you, like, for example, if I'm thinking about that, and that was a great example, I think about myself on the floor and trying to sketch it out. To me, at that time, it didn't feel like greatness.
Right.
So that's the thing that's why I said it's certain things that, that goes under the ground that you can't see when I was talking about a plant, for an example. But I couldn't see that as being great. It didn't feel like it was great until the finished product or that particular product happened. Then it felt like, oh, wow, that was pretty great. Many times we don't even understand.
But why didn't you stop?
Because I had a goal. And that's
what was the goal?
The goal was to complete something and to make it to the best of my ability. Absolutely.
But was it something random?
No, definitely wasn't random.
It was something you saw.
Something that I saw. That's true. That's very true.
I believe that's the greatness. You've got to lock in on a thing. You've got to name a thing.
Okay. Amanda says, yeah. Okay, Amanda. Go ahead and take Dr. Newt's side.
No, I don't know if it's sides or not. I think our society has taught us that. Like, for instance, say a college degree.
Okay.
Because I work in that industry, and people will, get their degree, and they'll contact me a year later and say, I got this degree for nothing.
Oh my God!
I can't find no job in it. Well, the degree isn't like a light switch.
Right.
That you turn the light switch on and the electric comes and the light bulb comes on.
Okay.
No, it's a seed. It's a tool. It's a certification. It's one step closer to whatever it was you saw. You still have to do what it takes to get to that thing.
Okay.
I'm just using that as the example.
I can see it from that perspective.
That's the only reason I brought it out, is because I think society has tainted our thinking so that we kind of expect.
Amanda said I was actually taking your side, Kim. That's right, Amanda.
I think it's like we kind of expect something to take place.
Oh, so like
before it's finished. Yes.
Okay.
We want to expect, and don't get me wrong, we should expect that end result because we are, made in God's image and His likeness, right? So what He showed us already is.
Okay. We just can't really see it yet.
But we have to complete the steps. We got to walk the steps all the way.
So it's basically the same thing we were talking about earlier, how when the parent names that child, she has these expectations, Lady Rain, I'm sure you had some expectations for your little pumpkin daughter. When you named her, you wanted her to have this and do this. And so it was like, okay, stand up now. Okay, now tie your shoe. Let's put your shoes on. We give them direction because we're trying to take them there. We're trying to teach them some things. Our goal is that they can eventually do it on their own, that they operate in their own level of greatness at the age or in the position that they're in at that time. Because at that time, what our expectation is of them is larger than what they're able to handle. So that's why I was saying that when we give them that name, when we give them that when we have that expectation of them, they have to grow and morph into the person that we're expecting them to be, So that's what I'm saying about that as a parent. When I use the example of the plant, the seed in the ground, What I meant by can't see it is the only, and you're right, the seed would represent me. The only person that sees the seed is the seed.
Right.
And the seed is in the ground. And I don't know if you guys ever watched, as I was saying, Newt had played a video, I think I might have shared it with him before. There's a video of a seed that breaks up. I mean, and it's ugly.
Just go on YouTube.
It's ugly. It is not a beautiful seed. I mean, it turns from this one thing, it has a shell hanging off of it, it dies underground, and then it starts to spring up. When it springs up, it has all kinds of little stems, and I mean, it looks like antennas. It does not look beautiful at all. But what happens when it's finished, then you have your tomato, or you have your whatever, your string beans, you have whatever. That is something good. So in the very beginning stages of that, it does not look that good.
There's some pressure.
There's
And there's some dying that has to happen.
Something has to die. So in the making of greatness,
That's a good transition.
definitely,
Yeah.
yes, there's definitely something has to die. So when the greatness happens, here are the three things we talked about as before. I said greatness happens with pain. So that word pain, guys, get that in your mind. And I know we don't like that word.
No.
We don't like that word. The truth is we don't like having pain. But the fact is that greatness creates pain. The other thing is passion. So we have pain, then we have passion. Pain we don't like, passion, we all have some kind of passion. And then the other thing is we have purpose, and that's something we're called to. So pain we don't like, passion we have, purpose we are called to. And I believe that in order to operate in greatness, it means that pain, passion, and purpose the 3 P's must meet, must align, and wrap like a 3-chord strand. Yes, it has to work together. And the reason why I'm saying that, pain, guys, think of this. In your life, okay, let me just go to pain. Pain, a thing that hurts you makes you do certain things. Yeah. So if somebody did something to you, a matter of fact, I remember a testimony, Lady Rain gave a testimony that she had a difficult time. They tried to give her a hard time with her doctor's degree, which was a painful situation for her, but she kept pressing through. But guess what happened out of that pain? Now she started a branch in Phoenix, so people who were having a difficult time can now go to school here and get their degrees out of pain.
It's called the Heart Bible Institute University, HBIU.
Absolutely. That's right, Amanda. No pain, no gain. Exactly. So out of our pain, what we do, here's the 3 things I said. We want to do something about it so you don't experience that again, because we don't want to feel that same pain again. Right. Number 2, you won't want no one close to you to experience what you experienced. And number 3, what you do is you want it to go down in history that nobody has to deal with that situation again after you figured out a way to adjust. Right. You know, okay, so Webby was posting something new. Can you see it? But that's what pain does. Pain makes you do something about something that happened to you.
She's talking about how naming her babies was a thought process, and no one could change her mind.
Right.
She wasn't really thinking of what they would grow into. She was afraid that I didn't say more. I can't say.
I would have. What?
Afraid of what? She was afraid of what she would have put on the. I guess if she changed the name.
Wow, that's good.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
Love. Thanks for posting that, Love.
Yes.
But absolutely, now we're talking about pain. Oh, she put it in HBIU.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about pain and what pain will push you to do.
Yes. So you got to understand that pain is also an indicator. It lets you know that something's up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I have pain in my leg, something's wrong.
Something's going on.
I'm not supposed to have that pain.
Warning.
It's a warning that I need to adjust something. I need to take care of something. But many people will stop at the point of pain.
At the point of pain.
And Kim is saying that all 3 are going to exist.
Yes.
Pain, passion, and purpose.
But take a look at pain and look at the beauty of it.
Right.
The beauty of the pain, as the example that I gave about how HBIU was established in Arizona, was that pain from that situation is that I'm not going to let, as long as I have the opportunity, the skill set, the ability, the connections, I'm not going to make anyone else feel that kind of pain.
I'm going to make a way.
I'm going to make a way.
Yeah.
And that is That's purpose.
That's
So
stepping to her. Yes.
that's
yes.
leading. So let me go to we need pain to happen so that the new thing can happen. So you guys get ready on this here. Babies are born through severe pain of their mother. Their mother has some severe, please, I know the severe pain, okay? Those y'all mothers out there, wave your hands in the air. Okay? Severe pain, that's right. The making of great things or happiness comes through bearing down in painful situations. Tolerating what it is that you have to tolerate, dealing what you have to deal with, going through it. But pain alone, this is the teach. Hold on, right here. Let's see. First graduate class.
It's a choice.
It's a choice in how we're going to respond to it. It can either make you or break you. That's what I'm about to say, Amanda. Absolutely. Absolutely. So anyway, pain alone without ceasing. So if pain continues, it can make the entire body weaken and cause a mental state of your mind to collapse. Because listen, pain alone is damaging. If it's not, how do you say, unhinged, if it's not monitored and maintained, it can be damaging. We have to be careful not to just operate in pain. There has to be passion to go with it.
Right.
So passion is, my example of passion is the strong, unbearable, uncontrollable emotion that presses upon your heart, speaks to your mind, will, and soul, and makes you do something about the pain you experience. So the example that I gave is our producer, she had a painful experience, but passion then spoke to the pain and said, okay, so this is how you can handle the situation.
Right.
When passion then speaks to pain, it keeps pain from taking over.
So you got to also see that part of her passion was also to help people.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't just to start that branch of HBIU so
Right.
people can have that opportunity.
Oh, no, yeah.
But that why that passion connected with that pain so much
It's because
was,
of this.
yes, she had a desire, a passion to help people too, in general.
And that's what was listed under pain,
Right.
wanting to do something about it so that someone else doesn't have it.
So what I'm trying to get you to see is that things blend together in your life, and
Absolutely.
you have to listen to them. Your path is already drawn for you.
Already laid
Just
out.
listen to them.
Already laid out. Very good. So anyway, that pain, passion has to actually speaks to your mind and your will, so it makes you do something about the pain you experience. But passion has also been known to mend hearts. So think about this. Passion also can break hearts. It can build businesses. It can build empires. But passion, a lot of times they say it's a crime of passion.
Right.
So we have to be careful that passion, unhinged, does not do the wrong thing.
Right.
Passion alone can destroy everything, or it can make everything better. So
Yes.
you have to be very careful,
Right.
because passion alone can destroy things.
Right. So there's some wisdom involved. So Lady Rain said it sounds easy now, but there was a point where she felt like she was going to give up,
Exactly.
or in her mind maybe she did give up. But that passion,
Mm-hmm.
the passion for what the thing represented or could accomplish,
Right.
you know, it I'm assuming continued to convict her.
Mm-hmm.
Where she said, you know, this is something we just have to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Yeah.
past the pain,
Past the pain, because that's what will keep you. That's what
Past-
will
yes.
make you quit.
the pain will paralyze you.
That's it. That's it.
Yes.
Yes.
But the passion keeps it ignited. It
Mm-hmm.
keeps that little pilot light lit in your head. You know, that keeps talking to you.
Do something.
Keeps tapping you on your shoulder. You know,
Mhm.
and eventually you submit to that, and Kim will get into the next P, and that's when you start to operate it.
Webby says, this may sound weird, but when passion kicks, we must be careful because it contains a trait of obsession that can change your outcome. Exactly. And that's what we're talking about, Web, that pain alone can paralyze you. Passion by itself can destroy you.
Right.
But here's the third chord, purpose.
Purpose.
Purpose is the reason something is done or
Yes.
created, why it exists. Purpose is intentional. That's the key word.
Right.
It has an objective. It's a lesson plan to it.
Right.
It's meaningful with a desired result, a goal and an aim. It has an expected end. You heard those words before in God's word, an expected end. Jeremiah 29:11, that's right. So purpose alone is, now let me tell you about purpose by itself. It's like potential without movement. So you need the three together. They need each other to fulfill the plan. Pain strikes something that makes you say, okay, that bothered me. Why did that affect me? I got to do
Right.
something about that. Passion says, oh, and you can do something.
Right.
And this is how you can do it. But purpose will say, okay, I'm a partner with that. I'm going to show you the way to do it, so that you're not doing it out of anger or
Right.
you know.
So I would argue that it is a healthy obsession.
Okay.
A healthy obsession that's dropped in your spirit from your forming, which talks to your purpose.
Oh, I thought you was look. I was like, come on, go for it.
I didn't want to stop you.
No, I'm pretty much done. But they all three need each other to fulfill the plan.
Right.
And passion, if I say pain, passion, and purpose jointly together, aligned together, fulfills promises.
Ooh. See, now I got another 4. Got another P in there.
So passion, pain, passion, and purpose jointly aligned together helps you to fulfill promises.
One of the greatest examples of that that synergy is Martin Luther King.
Yes.
Again, the pain of being a second-rate citizen, of seeing what they saw during that time. I didn't get to see a lot of those because I was born a little after the Civil Rights Movement. Then the passion that he had was, listen, we don't have to live this way. We want to be considered equal. We want to be, and that passion was unto death.
Unto death.
Passion is unto death.
Yeah,
so that's why I say it's a healthy obsession. Because you're at that point, you're angered and it hurt enough that at that point you're willing to give your life for the vision. When we teach leadership, we teach that the vision or the purpose. And its purpose then did what? We're reaping the benefits of it. We don't have time to tell you, and I don't want to tell them, but my youngest son called me today and had a conversation with someone today. And when he called me, he said, I was thinking, 100 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to say that.
Right.
Because I am Black. I wouldn't have been able to say what I said today. So, in other words, your purpose makes a change for someone else. I'll say this real quick, too, because I know we got to go. I'm reading a book or listening to a book that's talking about different companies and how they began. And some of the people who began those companies, very large and successful companies, said they didn't start their companies based on their passion. So they didn't start the company because they had a passion with a thing. They start their company because there was a purpose in them to do that thing, and they saw the opportunity to accomplish that purpose. After they started that company within their purpose, they saw that their passion, their real passion, was able to be accomplished. So they had the funding, they had the dollars, they had the opportunity to make their passion take place as well. So just want to kind of throw those nuggets out there. I don't want to get too far away from what Kim is saying.
No, but they're all there. Basically, they're all there. It's a 3-strand cord. They work together, and you need to let them work together. I think it was Victoria who said that was like something that our youth was founded on. They said passion and purpose marries together. I still say that for us, that certain things that have affected you, some type of painful situation, an uncomfortable situation, is the leading to that passion, is what makes that passion occur. Right. Also, the last thing I wanted to say is that the word greatness calls for something else. It calls for different.
Yes.
It calls for differences.
Yes.
So you cannot just say, when I ask you what does greatness mean to you, what I want to encourage you is that it also means different. So the greatness in you is going to be completely different than the greatness in you or in me.
Just like all of their definitions.
What their definitions were. And your name. So when I go back to that, each of us were named a different name. We have a different calling, a different responsibility, a different direction that we're supposed to move in. It might be all the same, well, let me not say direction, but we're all going the same place, but maybe a different way. And it's just based upon the callings on our life. It's different. We don't want to be like all the who's in Whoville, that everybody has to have the same thing and look the same. That would be childish. What we want now is to operate in the area of our own calling. We want to operate in the area that we were called, and we want to stand up firm, representing the name that we were given and the purpose that God placed on our life. That's what I believe about pain, passion, and purpose.
All right.
Okay, God?
I'm okay. You okay?
All right.
We thank you guys for joining in with us, and we hope you're able to grab some morsel that you can take with you to educate yourself, motivate yourself,
and help yourself grow.
And as usual, my friends, you make it a great day. Or not. Because that choice is always yours.
Always yours.
We love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Happy MLK Day.
All things are working for my good, yeah, 'cause he's intentional, never failing. I know that all things are working for my good, yeah, 'cause he's intentional, never failing. All things are working
for my good.
'cause he's intentional.
He's intentional,
Hey, and he's never failing.
never failing.
All things are working for my good.
For my good.
He's intentional.
He's intentional,
He's never failing.
never failing.
All things are working.
Things are working
Hey,
for
I
my
know that
good.
all things are working for my good. Yes, they are. Yeah, I know that all things are working for my good.
Things are working for my good.
All things are working for my good. Here's why.
For my good.
'Cause he's intentional.
He's intentional,
That's it. So he's intentional.
he's intentional,
He's never failing. He is. Thank you, God. 'Cause he's intentional.
he's intentional,
Never failing. Sing it again. Say that all things are working for my good. Yes, they are. He's intentional. Yeah, never failing. Sing that out. Say all
things are working for my good.
'Cause he's intentional.
He's intentional,
Hey, and he's never failing.
never failing.
All things are working for my good. Hey, all things are working for my good.
Things are working for my
That
good.
all things are working for my good.
Things are working for my
Yeah,
good.
all things are working for my good.
Things are working for my good.
All right, hands up, say, we can smile 'cause we know it's working. Through the hurt and the pain, I know it's working for my good. I know it's working for my good. This my part. I don't have to worry 'cause it's working for me. Yeah, it's working for me. Yeah, and I believe it's working for me. I can smile again, and I don't have to worry 'cause it's working for me. Yeah, it's working for me. Yeah, it's working for me. Come on, sing that out, say that.
I don't have to worry 'cause
Working for me, yeah. It's working for me.
it's working for me.
I can hold my head up.
It's working
Hey,
for me.
get your confidence back. Sing, I don't have to worry. It's working for me. Hey, my faith is rising now.
It's working for me.
And although I can't see
It's
how,
working for me.
I know that he's intentional. Yes, he is. Hey,
You are tuned in to that praisey station, Praise.fm, where we get our praise on. 24 hours.